Hey there, Taurus. Welcome to your reading for the week. This is for the next 3 months, April, May, and June of 2025. And we are just going to jump right in here. You have this standstill card and this flow card. I definitely feel that you could feel like you are going from a standstill to a flow. I think your last reading said something very similar. And you start with the Hangman. The Hangman has been in Hangman mode. We all have since November. We've had all these, retrograde since November. Really, there hasn't been a break from retrograde energy since November. And so we all could feel this quarter that we're like finally making some progress or finally moving forward and, doing things in our lives, which is great. It probably feels a lot better with that Sun card coming up. It feels like you're, making things happen. So that's very nice. The other thing is that, I think it was you that I said in the last reading that it's almost like, we have been given a puzzle and, the outside of the puzzle is done. And what we're doing is we're like filling in the middle of the puzzle. And the Hangman really kind of can somewhat represent that because he's been given the outline of something. He's hanging from the tree of knowledge and wisdom here, and his head is glowing, so he sacrificed movement for a period of time to be able to gain enlightenment. So I feel for a lot of you that you could have gained some enlightenment during this time. You have the sun coming up as well. You actually go from the moon to the sun. I definitely prefer readings that go from the moon to the sun. I don't like readings that go from the sun to the moon. This is a much better direction. It's like coming out of the darkness and stepping into the light. And so I feel a lot of you have either gained enlightenment or you have gained answers as to like what your next step should be, or you're about to, and probably in April. So, I think you should pay attention and definitely, make those moves as well with the Hangman. You have the Three of Wands. I kind of feel like the Three of Wands is expansion. You had Jupiter in your sign. And of course, Jupiter is not in your sign anymore. But here's the thing, is that we really don't get the benefits of a major planet until like after it leaves the sign, right? And so, I have found, especially with Jupiter in my life, like whatever house it's sitting in, usually I don't see the rewards until like later, until after it's left, or like a couple years after it's left, right? And the reason is because when we have that planet in our sign, it's like we're learning the energy. We're learning maybe what we need to do, or we're learning how we can expand or how we can take up more space. Sometimes I think the Three of Wands is really encouraging the person I'm reading for, you, to take up more space, to share, speak your mind more, to speak up, to share your ideas, or to, do that thing you've always wanted to do and get the attention you deserve, right? It's like, I really get that more taking up space type of energy with the Three of Wands. Sometimes I think the Three of Wands really is talking about adventure. And I think it is an amazing time for adventure. But again, intuitively, the message I'm getting for you, Taurus, is that it's kind of like time for you to take up space. It's time for you to realize that your ideas are good enough. It's time for you to like speak up at work. It's time for you to get that raise or promotion. And, that's really what I'm getting off of this card. The challenge, of course, is going to be your Five of Cups here. Five of Cups is spending too much time focusing on what you don't have instead of what you do have right here. He's no longer satisfied with these three cups. He's grieving the loss of his taste for wine. This right here is spilt wine on the Three of Cups. So he's sad about something that he doesn't even want anymore. And I always say with the Five of Cups that, we could be sad about something that we have lost or that we no longer have in our life. But really, if we were given the option, we probably wouldn't want it back in our lives anyway. So, this could be anything. This could be something you're working on. It could be a way that you're working. I do feel that this reading is talking about work for some reason. We don't have a lot of work cards here. Actually, only one so far. I mean, any card can represent anything based on the energy or, based off of, a question a person asks or whatever. But, again, I kind of am leaning in the work direction. Even if you're retired, you still do things during the day. And this could be, you kind of like no longer finding satisfaction in what you're doing day to day. And I think that's about to change for you here, Taurus. And I say I think because I don't know yet. And we're about to find out. So let's see what comes up here. With the Hangman, you have the Emperor. Yes, bossing up, right? It's time for you to claim your space with the Emperor is like bold and assertive, and he really takes advantage of opportunity that comes his way. So any opportunities that you're thinking about, I definitely feel it's time to, take advantage of those opportunities. I also think it's time to like let go of old stories, which we've talked about before. You're in I think something people don't realize about Taurus is that Taurus is the caged bull. Is the bull that's in a tiny little pen that's trying to get out. The pen, that you are caged inside of is your old stories, things that people said to you when you were younger, or things that happened to you. And, it's time for you to like break those chains, or to kind of flip that pen over and get out of it, right? And I feel that's what the Emperor is kind of saying. You're bossing up. With the Three of Wands, you have the Five of Wands. A lot of competition right now. I kind of feel it's probably because, all this energy we're dealing with in Pisces is going to start slowly moving forward into Aries over the next 3 months. Right now, both Venus and Mercury are retrograding back into Pisces. So, whatever. But we also, tomorrow, the day that I publish this video, we will have Neptune officially moving into Aries on the 29th. So, again, we have all this energy that's starting to move into Aries, and will be during this 3 months. And, again, Neptune doesn't retrograde back into Pisces until like October. So it will retrograde back in, but it's only a short stay before it officially moves into Aries. So there is, that Aries energy, I think, is bringing up competition for people. And I would just look at those places of your life where you haven't finished something because you didn't feel like you were good enough. So, what I feel for you here, Taurus, is that there could be, projects or ideas or things that you've worked on in the past that you didn't complete. And I would say that this reading is kind of saying that you're kind of getting a second chance. Now, it might not be exactly the same thing. Like maybe you had a job 20 years ago and you didn't see it through to the end. Maybe you thought you would be, CEO of the company or something. And, by second chance, I mean that you could be getting a new chance at a job that's like similar, where you could become a leader, right? And so maybe it's not exactly the same, but I think that with all that energy moving into Aries, it's kind of like time for you to challenge yourself to face those things that you didn't finish. Maybe that's a good way of putting it. With the Five of Cups, you have the Ten of Cups. Yeah, Ten of Cups is like fortune after difficulty. We could also say that the moon to the sun is kind of like fortune after difficulty. The moon isn't that... I don't really consider it that bad of a card. It's not a bad card. It's just that the moon can be confusing. The moon can represent illusions and a lack of clarity, and it's like you're going from a lack of clarity to a position of clarity with the sun. So again, is it really that bad? No, but it's kind of similar. The Ten of Cups would also represent family support, and it's an amazing time for family support for you, Taurus. So anything that you need help with, definitely get that help with your family, or people that you consider family. Like some of us have friends and stuff that we consider family, so that too. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this flexible card and this exchange gifts card. I'm laughing because you always get these cards of flexibility and needing to be flexible, right? You probably have never seen a bull do a split, so, it makes sense. But, just realizing that there are many ways to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, and not getting too fixed, as a fixed sign on a solution is going to be very beneficial for you. The exchange gifts card definitely is a good time of give and take just in general. We're an amazing time for co-creation as well. So anything you can do to you scratch my back, I scratch your back type of deal with people in your life, and getting people to where you create those reciprocal kind of relationships, all that is going to be very good for you at this time. You have the Ace of Swords, the Moon, and the Magician. This is definitely a lot of clarity coming out in this reading. The Ace of Swords is the truth. The Moon is just not knowing what the truth is. So having the Ace of Swords above the Moon can say that you are getting clarity on the truth. And this doesn't necessarily mean that, someone was lying or anything like that. It just means that, maybe you haven't been clear on your direction in life. Maybe you haven't been exactly clear on what you're supposed to be doing or where you're supposed to be going, or what you need to accomplish, or whatever it is. And the Ace of Swords is that, kind of clarity coming in, and it's the focus as well. And so I feel a lot of you could be feeling more focused, or you could just be getting answers. We also have this crown at the top of this here. And, with the Emperor, I definitely feel it's time for you to like boss up or, kind of take the lead in your life. And a lot of you could be doing that with this Ace of Swords. Again, I think for Taurus, it's very clear. I feel a lot of people are being required to be bossing up. We're kind of in a weird time where it's like the universe is wanting us to be independent, but also get the support of other people. And, people love to tell me how that's contradictory. And I'm like, no, it's not. Most people who are very independent have a lot of support. And so the two things can be true at once. And again, I kind of feel like that's what's going on here with the Ace of Swords. You have the Moon. Again, like I said, with the Hangman, I definitely feel you've been through a period of time of darkness, just maybe looking for answers. I get a lot of back and forth energy here, not necessarily in a bad way, but, just sometimes I think we kind of go back and forth, right? We are in a period of time where we think we know what to do. We try it, doesn't work. We try something else. And maybe since November, you've been having a lot of that kind of back and forth kind of energy where you've been, thinking like, oh, I'll do this with my life and it doesn't work, and then you try something else. So I just get a lot of that off of the Moon. The Moon is about staying focused. Again, it's part of the Fool's journey, and he needs to get to these mountains. When he gets to those mountains, those mountains kind of represent an achievement, and we have the Ace of Swords above the mountains here, above it. So I do feel with the Sun and the Ace of Swords here that you are getting a lot of clarity on what an achievement actually looks like for you here, Taurus, or you could be getting clarity on exactly what you're going to accomplish. You have the Magician. The Magician, of course, is about manifestation and manifesting things in reality. I think this is about using your tools. He has mastery over all the suits in the tarot in front of him. These are all the ace versions of all the suits. And so if he's working on something and it doesn't work, maybe he's using his swords, his logic, he might think to himself, I should use my pentacles, or I should use my wands for creativity, right? And so it's about saying, like, if you're trying to get something to work in your life and it's not working, and maybe you just need to change the tool that you're using for the job. And that's definitely what I would do with this Magician card. Weirdly enough as well, I also feel like the Magician is saying that, again, you could be attracting kind of like a second chance, because we have the Wheel of Fortune right next to the Magician here. And like I said, I don't think this is really a second chance necessarily. It's not like the same thing that you're revisiting. I think that it's more kind of like the essence of a second chance, if that makes sense. It's like you're doing something similar to something that you didn't finish in the past. With the Ace of Swords, you have the Six of Pentacles. Forward progress. So we see a lot of progress here in the reading already, without even clarifying the whole thing. Three Wands can represent progress. Ace of Swords, this card. Even the Seven of Pentacles and the good stuff can say that you are kind of making progress towards a goal. I also feel that you're better at investing in the right things. He's giving to this person, but not this person over here. And so but the card itself can represent the fact that he's giving to the right things. He's giving to the things that actually give to him. He's giving to things that produce a result. And, I think that's very important for you here, Taurus. But it seems like you are doing it. Yeah, with the Moon, you have the Queen of Pentacles. It's kind of the Moon with the Queen of Pentacles is having to go on a journey to find your resources. The Queen of Pentacles is a great card, but she's all about resources, and she's all about finding your resources. And that doesn't necessarily mean money. That means that you probably have skills that you can use to make progress and to be successful in life. And so whatever you've been through has probably taught you like your true strength or what you have. The other thing that I feel for you with the Queen of Pentacles is that she's kind of about multiplication. We have this rabbit right here, and the rabbit can represent a couple of things. It can represent fears and anxiety. It can also represent abundance and fertility, but it can also represent multiplication. Rabbits multiply very easily. And so with the Moon, this would be about discovering the skills, discovering the things that have a bigger effect in your life. Like, what is it that, what activities can you do that produce a big result, right? It's like I do these 4 videos every single day. It produces a big result for me. That is, this doing videos is multiplication for me, right? I only have to put in a certain amount of time. I get a big result. So Queen of Pentacles with the moon is like, what do you do in your life? All areas of your life where you get a better result from it. It's kind of, this could be anything. Could be your health. Could be, in business, could be with your friends. It's like there might be people you spend time with, like maybe some of them exhaust you and maybe other people fill you with energy, right? It's like that's multiplication. And I would really be paying attention to that with the Queen of Pentacles. With the Magician, I mean, I was gonna say creativity, but it's kind of like cheating because of the astrology. we are definitely in a time where we have to be very creative. It's like our creative solutions are going to be the things that work the most. So I kind of feel that you have 2 aces here, which is great. Definitely getting past these retrogrades this quarter is going to make people feel like they have a new beginning, and 2 aces can just simply be a new beginning in your life. And so it makes sense to me that you could be having some sort of new beginning. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have 3 cards. You have this Sandpiper Spirit, says be playful. Yeah, every single person for the past 2 months since March has been having these cards of being more playful. I feel the universe is trying to get people to just fill their fun bucket more and have more fun in life. You have this Crow Spirit, it says co-create with spirit, and you have the Seahorse, it says watch and wait. Yeah, so it's like you are being led to what you're supposed to be working on, and I would just pay attention to the messages, the ideas, the things that pop into your head. You have the Sun, the 3 of Swords, in the Wheel of Fortune. The Sun is the best card in the deck. The Sun is kind of like love, joy, happiness, peace, good feelings, good things happening for you. Funny enough, the Sun is a combination of the Sun and the Moon. The Sun has these straight rays, and it also has these squiggly rays on it, and it represents kind of overcoming the Moon energy, and it also represents a combination of both energies. We need both energies. There are periods of time in life where we have to walk through darkness and find an answer. There are times when we become clear. And so I feel that you're just entering into a time of clarity with that Sun. You have the 3 of Swords. I think April in particular is a very good month for healing, and so I've been pretty much encouraging everyone to take time to heal. This could literally be your health, but it could also be your emotions. It could be your, needing to forgive the past. The 3 of Swords is all about forgiveness. Those 3 swords are in your own heart. So, the thing with the 3 of Swords is we have to remove those swords from our heart so we can become successful. And, it's just about forgiveness. But I feel for you, it's just general healing energy, staying healthy, doing things to stay healthy, but in every single way, mentally, physically, all that stuff. And again, with the multiplication thing going on here, with the Queen of Pentacles, spending time with the people who are a multiplication in your life is going to also be healing. With the Wheel of Fortune, again, I just feel like something is coming back around. I don't feel much on this Wheel of Fortune. Of course, I think the Wheel of Fortune is a great card and all that other stuff. I do think the Wheel of Fortune, as I always say, gets too much credit in tarot. It's a good card, don't get me wrong, but the Wheel of Fortune is an action. We have to get the wheel spinning in the right direction. Most people live in what I call the washing machine of life. They just get tossed around all over the place, and they don't really pay attention to what direction their life is moving. For you, I just feel like something's coming back around. Like I said, pretty simple. This is like you revisiting an old idea. It's something that you didn't finish. That's really what I felt on that 5 Wands, the Emperor. I feel that you're getting a chance to see something through to the end. You're getting the chance to kind of reach the finish line again. And like I said, it kind of feels like a second chance, but not really. It's not like the same thing. It's like maybe you wanted to write a book. It's like you're writing a new book now. Maybe you wanted to start a business. You're starting a different business now. But it's like you're being given the chance to see it through to the end. Yep, with the Sun, you have the Hierophant, which is amazing. The Sun, whenever you get the Sun, with the major arcana version of you, it says that the Sun is shining on you. So you are getting attention. You are standing out. You are going to be, grateful for getting the attention that you are getting with the Hierophant and the Sun. So definitely a great time for you to stand out and, kind of shine your light to get attention, all that other good stuff. With the Three of Swords, you have the Eight of Cups. Yeah, I mean, there probably are things that you're going to be walking away from. Again, I'm doing this on the 29th today, and, today is the day of the Aries eclipse. These two eclipses that we just had, one in Virgo in the middle of March, and now we're having this Aries eclipse, they're both, I would say, more challenging than the next two. Although, this Aries eclipse isn't necessarily challenging, but, I think that these two eclipses have definitely asked us, like, what do we need to release, in which eclipses always ask, but these two just seem to be a little bit more aggressive in asking us to let go of something. For example, kind of what's popping into my head for you here, Taurus, is that, like, let's say that you do something that you don't like, that you hate. These two eclipses, I think, are saying, hey, you definitely don't like doing this, and it's like you might feel like something is poking you, saying you don't like to do XYZ activity, and it's time to change. So again, a lot of you, even after the eclipses can last for 6 months, and again, it's like you're being given the outline of the puzzle, so you're putting the puzzle pieces together between now and September of like what changes you need to make, or you could be trying new changes during this time. With the Wheel of Fortune, you have the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, Two of Pentacles is like work hard, play hard. I definitely balance. I think the energy is too serious. And I've been talking about this since like 2023, somewhere around there. That I think, the universe is trying to get everybody to get out of their heads, to, go have more fun, to do more things that they enjoy. And that doesn't mean you can't work or, do important things. It just says balance it. It says if you're doing a certain amount of work, make sure you're also doing a certain amount of play, and, kind of create that joy, or, carve out moments of joy in your day. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this Gemini card. It says, speak your truth. It says, choose your words wisely. Remember that your words have consequences. You have this Fleeting Flare path that says, something in your life will be brief, not meant to stay in your life forever. I think this is what you're used to with that Fleeting Flare path card. These are both showing up in this last row, which is the outcome and the good stuff. So these are the good things coming in for you. Your words are going to be very powerful. The Magician, says your words are going to be powerful. I also feel that the Fleeting Flare path card is about finishing things. Like I said, I think that maybe over the past few years, you've started things that you haven't finished. And I think this is about kind of maintaining the fire, which is what I always say on the Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands is only a spark, right? It is only that first little burst, and then you have to keep putting wood on the fire to get that fire to grow, right? You have the Page of Cups, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Knight of Swords. The Page of Cups can definitely be a admirer or a relationship. Not really a love reading, but, as I always say, I think love is always available to us. So if you want love, definitely, could be love coming in this quarter. It is a good quarter for love, especially when we get to like May. It's a good time for love. And so, there you go. I don't know what else to say here other than it could be love. You have the Seven of Pentacles, and the Seven of Pentacles is a change in direction. As always, Seven of Pentacles says, is the juice worth the squeeze? He's looking at the work he's done, and he's saying, like, is it worth it? Or should I go do something else? Could I take the skills that I learned from this situation here and bring it into a new project or something else that I'm working on? And again, I can't answer that question for you. You have to answer that question. You have a lot of answers in this reading. Like, there's a lot of stuff here. I can't remember which one it was, but you had some sort of card here that kind of where I was talking about you getting an answer for something. And, again, I think that there could be some answers on like what you work on coming in for you. You have the Knight of Swords. Speed. I think everybody is going to notice speed this quarter. The Knight of Swords and the good stuff is things moving quickly. Again, we've been in a ridiculously slow period of time since November, maybe even a little bit earlier than November. So things really slowed down, and obviously we're getting past all that, so things can speed up. And that's what I feel with the Knight of Swords. With the Page of Cups, you have the Nine of Swords. Now, if you are attracting love into your life, again, you have this card that said Fleeting Flare Path. Maybe you are used to connections not lasting and things like that. And so Nine of Swords and the good stuff would say you're getting out of a negative cycle, which is great. But also, if you're meeting a person, like, don't automatically assume this person that it's not going to last, right? Don't project those past stories onto a new connection. With the Seven of Pentacles, you show up again. So we have the King of Pentacles here. The King of Pentacles is permanence, which I say to you, I've been saying to you for years, Taurus, that Uranus and Taurus, Uranus will be leaving Taurus, but Uranus and Taurus is all about creating something permanent. And as I said to you already, we don't really get the benefits of the energy until the planet leaves the sign. So again, especially with Uranus, right? Because it spends a long time in every single sign, and, when it's going through a sign. So I think a lot of you are focusing on permanence. I think a lot of you are focusing on, creating things in life that last, creating things that can last longer than just a few months, right? Yeah, with the Knight of Swords, you have the Ace of Cups. I mean, if you do want love, could definitely be coming in for you. Yeah, like I said, May looks really good. You do have the King and Queen of Pentacles here, which are divine counterparts. So it could be another Earth sign, could be any sign, general reading, but definitely could be a love offer that's rushing in for you, which is great. You have 3 aces, which is amazing. So, multiple aces is kind of like a definite yes to any question that I haven't answered. So I like that. And it's also definitely a new beginning as well. You have this adaptability card. I really feel for Taurus that this is saying, if you're starting something and it's not working right away, like, don't get discouraged. I really feel that the universe has been trying to teach Taurus to experiment. If you come up with an idea, try it. If the first thing you do doesn't work, try something else, right? Adapt, change, adapt to the circumstances, and that's going to be really good for you. The universe has been teaching Taurus adaptability, for sure. You have this bluff card. This is like calling people's bluff. I feel that for some of you, you are calling the bluff of people who are dead. It's like, really, like I was saying, the bull in the pen. It's like, maybe your father passed away many years ago, but maybe your father told you you would never be successful, or that you wouldn't be able to make something happen, or maybe maybe you were on the playground when you were 6 years old and someone called you stupid, and now that you're older, anytime you come up with an idea, you think you're stupid. It's like that is the bluff that you're calling. But again, I think I said this to you in your last reading. You're not proving anything to anyone other than yourself. It's like you're overcoming those mental blocks by proving things to yourself, which is very powerful and good. You have this inspiration card. Sun. With the sun, we have to follow our inspirations. If something's exciting to us, we just need to see what happens and kind of like go from there, right? Next, you have this extremism card. Neptune and Aries. I have a feeling everybody's going to get this card. I've already done about 5 of the readings, and it's come up a couple of times. So what I would say is Neptune and Aries is extremism. And, I would just be careful of people who tell you how to think, right? Think for yourself. And finally, you have this versatility card. Yes, another card that basically represents flexibility, right? Being flexible, learning how to be flexible, learning how to work with different ideas or different energies. That's going to be very powerful for you here, Taurus. But this reading looks pretty good. I like where this is going. I forgot to say happy birthday. So happy birthday to you, Tauruses out there. But looks really good. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your quarter.